Welcome back to Anchor Designs. I'm James, and today we are returning back to the Meteor wood lathe. This is now part 4, and what we did in the previous episode was break down, started stripping the paint, disassembling everything, inspection of the parts, and went pretty well, to be honest. It's probably one of the easiest restorations I've done in ages. It's a very, very well made machine, and the parts are, I managed to get everything. Hasn't been much of a headache, to be perfectly honest with you. So today what we will be doing is final assembly. We did like a rough assembly in the last one, and I'm just currently working on the tool rest and putting all these back together again. You'll notice from the last video that we decided to paint it green, and from my personal opinion is I think that was a right decision. The laser cut tags that you'll see here are currently in the post. I have put those on order, and when they get here I'm not 100% sure. Could be a few days. I've bought some things via courier, which was 2 weeks ago, and I'm still waiting for them. I've got the tracking number, it's not here, so when it comes, I don't know. Let's put this together. So for the tool rest, what we have done is just stripped it back down again and painted it. I've left this edge unpainted for the actual chisel to sit on, and that's turned out pretty nice. Apart from that, which I'm going to have to redo. Wood lathes are good if you're looking at restoring something and you want to, kind of get into starting to do this kind of thing. Wood lathes are a really good starter project. That and vices. I've just done a vice, which was a record number 74. Probably got a few more of those coming in. But wood lathes are, I say, they're so basic and simple. And I hope this video series has kind of been a benefit to you. And if you are restoring a wood lathe at the minute, send me an Instagram. I want to check out what you guys are doing. Always interested to know. I really wanted a ML8, which is a Myford, which is one of these. But the prices of, I think about 3 years ago, people couldn't give them away. And now everybody's kind of jumped on it, and everyone's gone a bit mad for things at the minute. From classic cars to machine tools. I think it's probably things like YouTube that's caused this, but I don't know. Let's go chuck it on the lathe. Well, that's definitely a wood lathe. I'm really pleased with that. Hey, looking fantastic. Everything's moving very nicely. Yeah. Nice. Let's go make it spin. Okay, with this video, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not 100% sure of what's going to be the most desirable footage for people to actually want to see. I kind of don't want to make a 20-minute video of me, bolting down a motor. We have got the motor in place. It is, I'm going to just shim it just a little tiny bit, but it is sitting on the pulley quite happily. So what we'll be doing is making a panel that goes on the front of here, and then we'll trace that round so we can put our controls in. The height was a concern in like the first time that we took a look at this. from revisiting this, I actually quite like it being a bit higher up. I can access all the controls nice and easily, especially on a metal lathe. When you raise them up, you can get all the swarf and stuff behind them, which is very, very nice. It's on a very big tool chest, so I've got all the tooling and all the attachments in one station, which I really like that. What I might be doing from my personal workshop, I'm just going to move you out a little bit, is I need to cut these off, subject to my landlord's permission. And what I would also like to do is create a backboard onto here. And I want to be able to cover this when it's not in use to protect it as best as we kind of can. What else have we got to do? Control panel, build up the boxing around here, make sure that's nice and safe and secure. And then we've kind of got to switch it on and I don't know, make pencils and bowls and stuff. Yeah. Nice. I'll just show you what the lathe actually came with. It might be of interest to you. What you can actually do on one of these. Let's just take a quick look at that. Okay, it is a little bit messy in here, but you get the whole idea. So we have one of these, which is one of those. That's I believe that's for attaching on one of the bowl rests, which is good. We have another steady support, tool rest, whatever you want to call it. That is for the bowls. That connects onto the back piece. This, I believe, is the sanding attachment, which is nice. That plate at the bottom, just here, is the 10-inch sanding disc, which is excellent. That's off another lathe that I also own. These are the supports. These are some of the other supports. That bed under there is the table saw, and one of the blades is there. It also has got a grinding attachment on one side. It's got a 4-jaw chuck with it, which is original, so I'm told, which is good. Yeah, I'll get onto this. That is a most excellent looking tool. What a fantastic bit of design and engineering. Don't know who made that. It's got a few different chucks with it, rubber chucks. Personally, I'm going to get onto chucks in a little while, but there's a tool rest there to be able to put that on, and that is a bit of wood. Excellent. But this tool chest, same with my Myford lathe, fits on there perfectly.
The next day.
Okay, I hope you can see this okay. This part of the workshop, I'm behind a light, not in front of a light, so it is a little bit shadowy. I've drawn out the 4 position holes for the motor, and I'm going to be putting 4 bolts. Ideally, this would be countersunk. I haven't got any, and I can't get hold of any. So these are going to go right in there like so. We're going to bolt this down, and what this is going to give us is our tension for the belt. So we've got where it needs to be aligned. We've got the center point. We can work out the positions from these, and then if we need to tighten it, then we're going to gradually bolt this down closer to this bed as it wears. Nice simple way of belt tension. As well, this will also be able to tighten in 4 places, so it will give you a little bit of tracking for the belts as well. So it's just something might come in handy for you. What I have also done is tap these out to the M6 bolts. So I've just tapped these out to 5mm, which should be nice and tight, and it's not going to split the wood. So you should be able to tap these in. Like so. I'm going to countersink these, so these are counterboard. Oops. hoping you can see that okay. Those have now been bored in and they are now flush with the base here, as well as being super tight. So hopefully when we are screwing up the other side, these are going to stay still. What you could do before you did it is just put a little bit of super glue or one of those really sharp washers that look like this. Okay, we have our 4 studs in place. It's nice and solid. Admittedly, I did have to tap this down a bit with a mallet, but at least we have got a nice and secure mount on here, which is good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the lathe back on again, make sure everything's lined up, and we have got to take in consideration that we're going to put a top on this, so it will be a little bit looser. But when we put that belt on, tighten these up, and then set the tension correctly, we're going to be sweet. So we have the belt on, we have this not clamped down, so we're just going to put on some bolts on there. We've packed this back up, so we've now got that 18mm lift onto here, and it is already, feels pretty good. It's got quite a nice, it's a bit tight, so we're going to loosen that up, raise the bed ever so slightly, and then we should get a pretty good result. But I'm dying to try it, so I'm going to plug in the old control panel and I'm going to see how it kind of feels. So let's get that done now. Oh. Okay, I'm going to move you over here like so. Sorry for the janky camera movements. We've got power, which is good. This is obviously live, and this has been done by a bloke in his shed, so I'm not going to open this. This isn't particularly very safe, although the current that is coming out isn't very strong. Now, from memory, these should be reversed because we had to change the rotation of the motor by changing the polarity. So I'm just going to see, we have power. Oh. Look how slow that is. Have the camera mount tripod thing that I'm using, the arm, had a bit of an error with that. But anyway, let's get back to it. So, admittedly, this has only got 1 bolt on the base, but in the purposes of excitement, we're going to do it anyway. There's nothing, no vibration at all. Yes. Talking. That's exciting. That is really exciting. Okay, let's look at the control panel a little bit closer and have a bit more of a look-see. Everything is unplugged. Now, it might be a few days before I can give you an update because I have bought a new one of these. The reasoning behind it is that I made this control box at the time, on a budget, remember, and it's actually made from a key box. You know, so something that you'd put keys in, hence the name. So I had to disassemble the cabinet quite a bit for me to actually be able to mount this in here. Pretty basic stuff, and I did have to use a glue gun. I'm very, very sorry, but it is safe and it is, you know, grounded correctly, and everything is, yeah, cleaned up as best as it could with the correct stuff in it. So the actual units themselves look like this. So I'm going to have one of those that's going to go into this panel here. I'm going to make a proper nice panel for this. And when the world is hopefully back to normal, what I'll do, I'm just going to move you a little bit. I've ordered the Meteor sign, so I've got one that's going to go here, and I'm going to make a panel that's going to fit from here. I'm going to design it in Fusion, which is going to have the Meteor logo on the side with these cutouts for an emergency stop and the speed controller that goes into here. I need to make a bed that fits this properly and a back. We'll probably do a revisit on this on a upcoming video. But it will take a bit of time. When that is, I don't know, but we have a restored wood lathe with a treadmill motor, with a control in there, with a light because I unplugged it. But how exciting is this? It's looking fantastic. I'm going to get the label made and we're going to start turning some wood. Treadmill motor with the speed controller, roughly budgeted around 40 to 50 pounds, all in postage, etc. Emergency stop and the tachometer. An extra tenner if you're buying it from China, if you're buying it from local electrical supplier, probably triple that. And the light itself, all in all, I don't know, 20 quid, call it, which is nice. I will probably fit this on here, maybe on the other side. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in part 5 for the final revisit, making stuff, seeing how it's kind of performing. And that'll probably be a few weeks' time. Subscribe for more videos, for more updates, more things to look at, and I hope to see you again soon. Any questions, leave a comment, or my email is in my description, bio, whatever you want to call it. And stay safe, stay positive. See you later. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Oops. Awesome. See you next time.